Hello everybody and welcome to a maybe slightly unusual and unconventional comparison test between two phones. Here we have the Motorola Moto G and here we have the Nokia Lumia 620. Now the experts upon you will know that this phone is about a year older than the Moto G. So why am I comparing them? Well, these two are both my personal phones. This was my previous phone and I've now just about replaced it with this. Now what's interesting is that they both cost me about £150 when I bought them new. So what does £150 get you now compared to what £150 got you in 2013? In the early parts, obviously. Well, the first side shows that obviously £150 gets you quite a bit more. Specifications show that the 620 has a dual-core 1GHz Snapdragon S4 processor with 512MB of RAM, whereas the Moto G has a 1.2GHz quad-core processor, which is a Snapdragon 400 paired with 1GB of RAM, which obviously gives it an immediate advantage. The phones are both on now, so let's just go pick them up, get them in camera, and turn on their screens. Right, I'll do it at the same time. Ready, steady, and go. Now as you can see, the Moto G starts up much quicker, but they both unlock without any hesitation. So as you can see, the Moto G, absolutely no lag at all. No lag, even though bear in mind this is £150. And the Lumia 620 with its slower dual core and half a gigabyte RAM, surprisingly no lag either. Now this is obviously because Windows Phone is quite a light OS that supports low-end phones. In fact, if you look at the Windows Phone flagship, it's not, the specifications are up there with the Android flagships. So to do some comparisons, first we're going to open up the pre-built in music app of each phone. Obviously they're different, but they are critically the music app that came built in with the phone. So here is music and videos, which has the Xbox logo on. Don't know if you'll be able to make that out. And on the Moto G, it's Google Play Music. So 3, 2, 1. As you can see, they open up pretty much the same time. With maybe the Lumia taking a little bit longer due to its animations, but critically there isn't much in between them there. In fact, they're pretty much identical about going back home. Now we're in the browsers of the two phones, and immediately the 720p on the Moto G immediately starts to show its advantages. From here, where the news page is completely zoomed out, I can read every single text on the Moto G, whereas predominantly on the Nokia it's just a blurred mess where you have to zoom in. Zooming in on both phones, that's nice and smooth without any lag, and the same goes for the Moto G. So here we're going to go to an identical site and see which one loads up quicker. So for this we're going to go on the site that says 10 things. 3, 2, 1. So as you can see, the Moto G loads up a lot quicker, which is to be expected. They might be able to pick this up on the camera, but the Lumia 620 on my left here has a much more vivid white colours. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up as much as I can, but on the Lumia the whites are definitely whiter, with the whites looking a bit more creamier on the Moto G, but that could be your preference. Maybe you don't want an artificial white. You can see a difference here. I know it seems to be pulsing a little bit with the camera, but on the left the red band along the top here on the 620 looks almost orangey, whereas on the right here it almost looks burgundy. To be honest, I think that's actually more closer to the actual colour. So yeah, it definitely comes down to personal preference on that one. So now we're going to open up the phone's cameras and take an example picture. Now, in case you can't tell, I am using artificial lights in here, as you can probably see with the shadows, so obviously the pictures won't come out as well as it does in daylight, but I've already taken daylight photos in the same scenario with both phones, so you can compare that. But let's take an indoor shot as well then. The camera loads up pretty quickly, I think, in the Moto G. There's not much you can do. You swipe to the left here and that gives you your camera controls, but you haven't got much if I'm honest. And to the right will give you your gallery, but we don't do that for now. You won't be able to see much, but let's take a picture. That. And that's it. You can't really, there's no button to half press for the autofocus or anything. So that'll come up on your screen now. And as you can see, the colours look a bit almost like creamish again. And that's proper white paper, but they come out a bit creamy. So let's have a look at the Lumia. Again, camera doesn't take too long to open up. Save scenario. For here we've got a dedicated camera button, I don't know if you can see that, there, that you can half press, that auto focuses to your correct scenario, and then press harder and it takes. Now arguably I think the Lumia takes better photos, but in some scenarios the Moto G does as well, so it's again personal preference, but I definitely think the Lumia has a much better picture quality. Here's a video example as well, so you can decide. Note how I also look at the clouds with both phones and then go back to the ground to show how quickly the cameras can go from bright light to dim light. So what about the exteriors of the phone? Well, I think this is where you could kind of start to tell that they are not flagship devices, to be honest. There's nothing amazing about the Nokia, it's just a nice black plastic. Well, admittedly it does feel quite nice to hold, it's like a soft touch plastic and not one of those cheap glossy cough cough Samsung. With obviously the 5 megapixel camera and the flash. You've got a 3.5mm jack. Microphone here, this is used for noise cancellation when you're in a call. Volume rocker, power, camera with half press for dedicated autofocus. And again you've got the other microphone and the micro USB. Nothing on the side. And yeah, it's nothing that'll make you go wow, it's just a phone. And obviously the little speaker here. And the Moto G, it feels more premium in the hand in my opinion, but again you look at the back, same kind of material used, there's nothing plush about it, although it does look quite nice if I'm honest. I like the dimpled M logo, and obviously the 5 megapixel camera, the flash, the speakers, the volume rocker here and the power button. I think it's quite well placed, but I do miss the dedicated camera button on the Nokia. You know, having to touch the screen to take a photo I don't think's nowhere near as good. Obviously you've got another noise cancellation microphone and the 3.5mm jack straight down the middle. So taking off the shell on the Nokia is dead simple. You press on the camera, which when I first got it I thought I was breaking the phone, and the shell comes right off, and I mean right off, so you're fully exposing in fact the motherboard, which you probably might not be able to see because the camera doesn't autofocus very well, but you can see the motherboard. Here's where you put your micro SD, removable battery, and there's where your buttons get pressed. Now interestingly, the headphones, actually the jack itself is in the shell, so should you break it you can get another shell and replace it, and obviously it just connects here. So I think I haven't seen that before. It's probably on other phones as well, but I haven't seen that before, and I thought that was a good idea, though luckily I never broke mine, so I never had to replace it. And of course Nokia pushes its customization with its Lumia phones, so you could get loads of different colours with this. The Moto G I think is a bit of a bleh, a bit of a so-and-so to get its case off. You have to press down, and then the little gap where the micro USB is, you have to pick on it, while it makes quite really almost sounds like it's breaking kind of sounds, and you keep tugging it and tugging it, but don't tug too hard, and you finally get the case off. It's nowhere near as simple as the Lumia, but then all is revealed why, because apart from taking in and out your SIM card, there's nothing you can do here. There's no micro USB and the battery is not user removable, so no luck swapping that throughout the day. But honestly, I don't think you need to, because I found this has very good battery life. It will easily get you through a day, if not two, if you're quite moderate with your use. And getting it back on is similarly not quite as much as a pain, but still sounds like you're going to break it. But oh well. And getting the case back on the Lumia is pretty simple as well. There you go. Now obviously it was completely expected that there's going to be an improvement from 2013 to 2014, obviously. But the improvement that's been made is outstanding. I mean, every aspect of the Moto G is better than the 620, and bear in mind that the 620 was considered excellent value for money when it first came out. In fact, it was praised similarly to how the Moto G is praised by critics, saying how it's good bang for your buck. Obviously, I don't think you can even buy it now, but so it just shows how far it's gone. And I'm definitely think that the budget market's definitely upping itself much quicker than the flagship phones are. And to be honest, if you don't care about having a temperature sensor in your phone or having a 5.5-inch 1080p thing, and would happily settle for a 4.5-inch 720p screen, then this is all you need really. It has stock Android, maximum customizability, it handles every 3D game I've played on it so far, and it does internet well. It just does everything quite well really. It's not going to set any records with the benchmarks, but then again, why would you want to? It's a phone, it's not your desktop PC. I definitely think, seriously, if you haven't got too much money to spend, or you just don't want to spend too much money, consider the Moto G, but more specifically the Moto G 4G, because obviously 4G is more future proof, and it comes with a micro SD slot, so if you get the 8GB model you can easily expand it, because you probably will have to sooner or later, because 8GB seriously is a lot. And obviously the Lumia 620 is a bit too old now to be on sale still, unlike the pesky Samsung Galaxy Ace, which still seems to keep marching on with its rubbishness. But it has been replaced, hasn't been completely redundant. The 620 is now replaced by the 630 and the 635, which both come pre-installed with Windows 8.1, which brings lots of improvements, including a similar Android-like pull-down notifications bar. So either phone of these, so this and the new version of this, are very good value for money phones, but I definitely see the Moto G being the clear winner. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.